Whenever I buy stuff, I try to purchase things that will add long-term value to my life. Today, I want to share 7 products from the tech category that take away little pain points in my life every day. Let's get started. Okay, the first item will be the Anker Magsafe power bank. There's also one made by Apple, but it's very expensive, and I think the cheaper ones do the job just as well. So this is very convenient because it just snaps to the back of your iPhone, and whenever you want to leave the house and you have this in charge state laying around, you can just grab it real quick to extend your battery life if you maybe forgot to charge your iPhone. I've used this so many times, for example, when I went out and my iPhone was already at like 30%. Just to be sure, you can just grab this real quick, snap it on the back, and you extend your battery life by like 60-70%. Next up is the Apple Airtag. I didn't buy this when it first came out because I thought I didn't really need it, but in general, I used to be a person that is often losing stuff, and even though that kind of went down, I think it's just better to have it. When everything seemed to open up after most of the lockdowns were done, I picked one up because I thought to myself, if I ever lost something that important like my keys, I would be so mad if I didn't spend those like $20-$30 right now, because I would know that I would be able to find my keys right now if I had an AirTag. So I haven't really used it to find lost stuff, but it's really convenient even in day-to-day life to just be able to find your keys when you have maybe misplaced them or you forgot where you put them. So in general, I think for the price, it's definitely worth it, and the Apple one is the best one because it can be tracked by all iPhones around the world, which is not something that other stuff can do, I think, except for the Chip Holo one that's also in the Find My network. The only bad thing about it is that you have to buy these little key ring attachments that are obviously super expensive. Like the AirTag itself is not that expensive, but the attachments can get very expensive, but unfortunately, that's just the price you have to pay, and I so far have really liked this. Next item on the list is a physical alarm clock. I've bought one a few months ago and I have never looked back ever since, because I used to use my iPhone as an alarm, but that is just not a good way to start your day in my opinion. Of course, you can just turn off the alarm and put your phone away, but at that point you already have your phone in your hand and the kind of barrier to entry is way lower to just keep using your phone. And I'm someone who doesn't like to use my phone first thing in the morning. So a physical alarm clock is just very convenient. Also, it's kind of better at forcing you to get out of bed. Like the iPhone alarm can just be turned off by Siri, unfortunately. And I wish I had never found that out. But ever since I found that out, it was just too convenient to just turn it off via Siri and like not get out of bed. So a traditional alarm clock really forces you to get out of bed in the morning. Also, it has a really annoying sound that gets louder over time, so you just know that if you wait, it's just gonna get worse. Okay, the next item is something that's probably not that common and pretty interesting. It's this Xiaomi mini vacuum cleaner. And this has been so useful. I'm sorry that it looks a little bit disgusting, but it gets used a lot because it's just so great for small stuff. So for example, I have a little coffee setup where I do my pour overs and beans tend to get spilled everywhere, like the little grounds. And it's so easy with this mini vacuum to just go over it, clean it up, and have a clean workspace again. The same goes for my desk. I have a mostly black desk setup, and if you have one, you know that it gets dusty really quickly, like after a couple of days. And it's just so convenient to have this little mini vacuum to be able to clean it up. What's also convenient about it is that it charges via a USB-C port, so it's very easy to charge, very convenient. The battery doesn't really last that long, but because the charging is so easy, it's not really that big of a problem. Also, it's pretty expensive, so that makes it a no-brainer for me. The next item on the list might seem boring at first because it's a USB stick, but it's really convenient actually because it's a USB-C stick if you use it like this, but then integrated in it is a USB-C to USB-A adapter so you can use it with older devices. This has been so convenient many times because I use a MacBook and it doesn't have a USB-A, so that's the old USB port. And when I have to use a printer at university or do presentations and you have to transfer files, it has always been so convenient to just have this with me all the time. Next up, I have another surprising one, and this is a humidity sensor. It's just a very basic one and it's very inexpensive, but it's so useful because it reminds me to open up the window. I work from home, I also study from home most of the time, and sometimes I just forget to open the window for a few hours. And even though you have a feel for like the worst air quality, in my experience, looking at this from time to time and seeing the humidity go up and knowing when it's time to open the windows, it's just much more effective. There are also a couple of smart humidity sensors, which are even cooler, because they can remind you automatically to open the window, but they're like 10x the price. And at the time I purchased this, I just didn't really feel like it was worth it for me. Okay, that brings us to the last item for today, and this is my Native Union accessory / cable organizer. I've had this for like 2.5 years now, and it's so helpful because in there I always have all the cables I need. And that is just so helpful to always have them ready. I really like to have my stuff organized, and for traveling, it's just so much easier than having to search for cables somewhere in your backpack because you threw them in some kind of little pocket somewhere in there. It's so much easier to have one case for all your cables. There are a bunch of companies that make these. For example, I think Bellroy, Peak Design, and this Native Union one. I think it doesn't really matter which one you go for, you can just go for the one you like. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, so just try to find one that works for you. Alright, that's been it for this video. I hope you found something helpful in here, and I'll see you in the next one.